Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to Season 3 of the Mindshare Podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. Now, when was the last time you checked out the Kit's cross-channel marketing suite? This is your full-on marketing tool set. Starting with Loop CRM to help keep you organized, the most personalized and effective direct mail newsletters delivering response rates of over 35%, email newsletters, websites, social media content, our super easy 3-click landing pages complete with automated action plans, and so much more to help you manage your business, generate more leads and more referrals, and build that mindshare to drive even more sales. You can learn more on my site, mindshare101.com, by clicking on marketing. And as you know, we are on a push to get to 100 reviews on iTunes. And so I'd like to ask you, if you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes, go to iTunes, rate the show, and leave a review. And we've added an extra incentive for you. For everyone who leaves a review, you are being entered into a draw to win 1 year of free group coaching valued at over $500. It's really that easy. And let me say thank you in advance. Today's episode is number 152. She's an award-winning real estate broker, consistently earning the highly acclaimed National Chairman's Club designation, top 1% in Canada, A.E. LePage Agent of the Year, both provincially and nationally for her productivity, leadership, and philanthropic contributions. Red Diamond Award, ranking number 5 provincially for individual sales and receiving the Lifetime Award of Excellence. As a lifelong learner, she continuously takes courses to fine-tune her skills and better serve her clients. She is designated luxury marketing specialist, senior specialist, buyer specialist, certified master negotiator, social marketer, and trusted source for real estate information, being interviewed by the Globe and Mail, Zoomer Magazine, and many other national and international publications. In addition, she is recognized as one of the 50 most elite women in real estate by Rep Magazine. Philanthropy is one of the cornerstones of her life and in her DNA, as she says. She's a proud supporter of the Roy LePage Shelter Foundation, trekking across the Sahara Desert to raise money and awareness for the cause, in addition to donating a portion of every sale to help women and children escape domestic violence. She is actively involved in her community, passionately volunteering and supporting many local charities and organizations. This week on the show, I am joined by top producer and realtor and philanthropist, Caroline Baile. Caroline, welcome to the Mindshare Podcast.
Hello, and thank you.
It's interesting. You've got the mountains behind you, and I mean, I don't know if I share this with you, but I think I did, but I love the mountains. Being here in Toronto, we don't get to see those things and be able to have those in the backyard or here today on the Mindshare Podcast. And for all my listeners on iTunes and everywhere else, you can't see them, but Caroline has literally got the mountains behind her right now. And I am just in awe. It is awesome, but it's so good to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here. So
that's quite the move, moving from Ontario out to BC. I mean, it's you're still within Canada. We love our country. And I like I said, I love BC, but what prompted you to move from Ontario to BC?
You know what? It was a few things. With 2 decades of helping our clients in Ontario with all the real estate needs, seeing a lot of our corporate clients going back and forth between the Greater Toronto area and Greater Vancouver area, it really made sense that if we were looking to expand in BC. My daughter had moved here after university. Another one of my daughters was contemplating, making the West Coast home. I had been coming out here for decades, and Roy LePage had a big presence here. So staying with the brand was very important to me. Where else can you literally wear shorts and a t-shirt and walk around the seawall versus, in March versus a puffer jacket and shoveling snow? So for so many reasons, it just made sense. It was a good fit.
So the big question here then would be, have you skied and golfed in the same day?
Not in the same day, but in the same week.
Okay.
How's that?
That's one of those big things that everybody says, right? You could go like golfing in the morning and go skiing in the evening kind of thing. And it's all in the same place.
You know what? You absolutely can do that. And literally, so you talk about the mountains behind me. I have the mountains behind me and the ocean in front of me. So
amazing.
Extremely blessed and grateful. Like I literally wake up every day and I am in awe of the beauty around me. So yes, it is part of it. I mean, the move out here was multifaceted for all those reasons. But yeah, there is a reason that people want to be in BC. I think Phil said it the other day, Phil Soper, the president of Royal LePage, he said, everybody in the world wants to be in Canada and every Canadian wants to be in Vancouver. And you can see why.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I was telling you before, I mean, when we go to our motorcycle trips, and we've crossed the country multiple times now on the bikes, and it's, I mean, thousands and thousands of kilometers, but we will spend like a week just trying to get across the country and having to go, 3 days through Ontario, 2 days across our awesome flatland of the prairies, just to make our way out to the mountains to finally spend some time out in those roads. And it really is just absolutely amazing. So it makes a lot of sense why you made it out there. Now, are you still active back here in Toronto when I talk about like actual real estate?
Yes. So I am licensed in both Ontario and British Columbia. Mm-hmm. We have a team in Ontario still. So the Key Advantage team is thriving, a team of brilliant women. So yes, I'm definitely still doing there. And to tell you the truth, I love it. It's nice to be able to have the synergy between both marketplaces and both teams. So yes, still very active in the Ontario market and then expanded into the British Columbia market, which is where we are, growing the business now. Now,
I was going to ask you, did you take your team with you? But it sounds obviously like, no, your team in Ontario is in Ontario, and now you've gone out to BC. And is there a team there?
Yeah, so it's a little different. So yes, we have the team in Ontario, and they've stayed there, and being run by Susie Strom, who is my partner there, a fabulous businesswoman and very capable team out there. But the structure is a little different between Ontario and British Columbia. So in Ontario, there are teams everywhere. There are huge, vibrant teams that are expanding. And when you look at the marketplace, now a lot of the clients, whether they're buyers or sellers, will actually go out and look to work with a large team. The reason why is the thought process as you expand your exposure, you expand the number of people coming through. For a seller, hopefully that means higher sale price. And for buyers working with a large team in Ontario, hopefully they get the inside scoop of some of the new properties that are going to be coming on the market. In British Columbia, because you are not allowed to have multiple representation, it does not make sense to have a large team. So you usually will see a selling realtor with an assistant, maybe one other salesperson, but there's more collaboration because you're actually at a disadvantage with a team in British Columbia. You could have a buyer that you had been working with for ages. You have the perfect property coming up for them, but you are unable to work with them or show it to them. So what would happen in that situation is you would continue to work with them. You put them in touch with, you collaborate with another realtor in your marketplace that is knowledgeable, and they would do it that way. So unfortunately, it is a little different where, again, the mindset of Ontario and the population there is the larger teams are more desirable or more flourishing. Whereas in British Columbia, it is, smaller teams. As I said, the team is more a realtor and an assistant and possibly one other.
It's interesting.
Lots of collaboration, but different structures.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, with what we've seen in headlines lately about steering and things of that nature. And as we take that to even the bigger picture of multiple representation, which we chatted briefly about before we got on air here, around the fact that if you are, if you've got the listing, you're not going to go out and represent the buyer as well. Now you're really giving the best you possibly can to your seller, which is also very important, right? And it completely eliminates that whole conflict of interest going on, right? But it's also interesting what you said there about, the I guess BC having big teams or not having big teams and the need for the team. There's not an awkward, but an interesting question. Why a team? And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the team here, but I guess it's why a team. And what I'm taking from what you just said, and you can add some clarity to this one, but in Ontario, what you're almost doing is you're leveraging the power of many with that network, in BC because of some of the limitations or just the ways things are done. You don't need the big network necessarily when it comes to your immediate team. Am I on the right page with that? Is that kind of where you're going with it?
It's not necessarily that you don't need it. Actually, a larger team would be ideal for some of the reasons in that in the Vancouver market, the listing agent is there for showings as well. So realistically, you've got a lot more man hours being put at a property at a listing. So in that sense, it would be ideal to have a larger team.
Okay.
But because the rules and regulations are more stringent around the no dual agency, that's where the challenge comes in. It's not that you would prefer one over the other. It's that you are working within the limitations within your marketplace.
Got it. So you're being more strategic about how many people are with you.
Correct.
So we're not limiting opportunities almost.
Correct. So in Ontario, again, the more the merrier. There are no limitations. And even with the fact that there are not the restrictions of no dual representation, et cetera, we always, and as a team, we always made a point to not work with the same buyer and seller. So whoever was listing that property, somebody else on our team would work with them as a buyer. So you don't have the same firewall that you might have in British Columbia, but there would definitely be a separation where you have one party representing the needs of the buyer and one representing the needs of the seller. So you try to collaborate and get it all to come together. And again, this is where the negotiating comes in. But at the end of the day, it's a slightly different format than in British Columbia.
Interesting stuff. You know, I personally was not aware of that whole multiple representation thing out there in the West Coast. And it's again, from a strategy perspective of why a team, and then, you know, building the team.
Yeah.
You're thinking it through.
Yeah, so you're thinking,
right?
You're thinking it would be great to have extra, feet on the ground as part of your team. But at the end of the day, again, it would be a disadvantage to you and your clients because then you would not be able to help them or work with them on any of your listings.
Yeah. No, I got that one. So curious on this one then, as we talk team, and I'll sort of parallel this between Ontario, BC, I'll talk about your business. When did you actually know that it was the right time to start a team? And this is something that, look, Caroline, if we look back over the past, 5-10 years in this industry, having the team has been a big thing, right? Like building up and having a team, and not just having necessarily an admin, or not just necessarily, let's say, because I mean, look, we can dissect this and say, if you're an individual agent, but you got a mortgage broker and you got a home inspector, and you got a lawyer, and you got all these other people you deal with, the reality is you've got a team. Right. Yes. But when we talk about real estate team, the thought that comes across, at least for folks in the industry, is, well, I've got, people working with me. I've got buyer reps, and I got admin, and I got marketing people, and I got all these people. And that's a big endeavor to take on. Like, you've actually got to be thinking like a business person, not just an individual who needs help. Right.
Oh, absolutely. Most of the team leads, as they call it, are busy. You are running a business. You are recruiting. You are training. You've got all those things in place. And I will say to you, it's nothing that really I thought about. It came about organically. So I'll start with Ontario because obviously that's where I started my business. And the first thing I did was hire an assistant.
I was about to ask you, what was the first position you hired for?
Yes, so definitely an assistant.
Yep.
You think it's a salesperson, but at the end of the day, your assistant is going to be the one. You need somebody running the business, the inside office, so you can be out on the field. Mm-hmm. And my first hire, Carrie Villiers in Ontario, she's operations. She literally, I would not have been able to grow my business to the extent I did without her support and knowing that things were taken care of at the office. So that was my first hire, was an admin that grew into operations.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
From there, it was the sales team. I mean, as you grow your business and you get more listings and of course, open houses, and we would have like 10, 12 listings. And I literally could not facilitate the showings, the open houses. So all I was doing was giving business away, because I would be, desperately working with realtors in the office saying, who wants to do an open house? Who wants to do this? But it got to the point where I didn't feel that they all had the same commitment to the client that I did. They might have slightly different business skills, et cetera. And so for me, it was really important that I had people that represented my beliefs and values representing the client. And it's not that I really went out looking and started recruiting, but they start coming to you. And in our office, whether it was new clients or, new people joining the industry, our office manager would be like, hey, Caroline, here's somebody that might be a good fit. And so when I started hiring or growing my team, what I did was I looked for similar values, but different skill set. So somebody who would be very professional, but, it might be somebody who's bringing with them, first time home buyer knowledge or renovations, or it might be a demographic that might be a good fit for somebody. So again, making sure that as we bring on people, we're bringing, again, different skill sets. So we're adding value to our clients in different areas. So that's sort of how that happened. And it was organic. I didn't really go out looking for people. They usually came to us. And even when I was saying at one point that I was not looking to grow the team and we were very comfortable with the number of people we had on board. And then somebody said, oh, you've got to speak to this girl. She's great. She's my friend. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll speak to her. And I met with her and I thought, okay, you know what? You don't even have your license yet. She was just starting the process. And I'm like, you are going to be a dynamo. And so you find a place for people like that. And true enough, she has turned out to be excellent. And every hire has been amazing. And the camaraderie, I think key to anything. And for me, it was always about the culture. So it didn't matter how much business they brought in or how much experience. They had to really have the right culture where everybody got along, because you spend a lot of time with each other. And especially in real estate, when it's 100% commission. And when you work in a certain area, you might have, 5, 6 or more open houses in one weekend. And most of the people looking are going to be the same buyers going to each of those properties. And it could get very testy if you don't have the right people in place. And so we would have team meetings every Monday morning and sort of go through and say, who met who, what were they looking for, et cetera. And it might be the same couple going through 4 homes. And they would decide, the team would decide between them who they thought was the best fit. They might say, oh, you know what? You had a better connection with them. They have young children. There was never the competition or the jealousy. Like, everybody truly supports each other. And I think that was key. And that should be key to anybody looking at growing a team, is having the right fit. And it's all about the culture.
I was going to ask about that. And one thing that I picked up on, as you said that, and you said this a few times as you shared that, was it was organic.
Yes.
And through organic, that says to me, and this is what I'm reading here, is this says to me that as you're doing things on your own and you're out there doing your thing, you are attracting that organically because of the way you run your business, because of the brand image you bring to the table, and the fact that you are now in the office, you're doing good things, and now you're getting people going, hey, can I join? Or the manager going, hey, this person would be great, or you should mentor this one. And it all starts with how you run your business.
Yeah.
Right. So in that then, and I guess you just shared a whole bunch of this, but if I kind of came back to this and like specifically asked the question around, what do you recommend to anybody who's thinking of starting a team? What are those need to know? So, I mean, again, the fact that you picked up organic, we talk about culture. I think culture is huge. In fact, I remember doing a conference, a Royal LePage conference in Vegas a number of years ago, addressing the brokers and talking about culture. Right. And building up culture. Right. It's so crucial. Now, in that, I guess, how do you create that culture when you're a one person show? And how do you create the culture as a one person show to be able to attract more people to come to you? Because again, when we look and say, I want to start a team, you could be running a very bad business. You could be like really all over the place, and people are going to look and kind of go, you're a nice guy, you're a nice person, but I don't know if I want to work with you. What are some of these things you need to be doing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the one thing is be authentic, stay true to who you are. And they always say your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you have a very professional business, you are going to attract like-minded realtors and employees, staff. If you kind of have a fun business, you're out there, you are going to attract people that resonate with that. And it's like our clients. So whether it's attracting the right people for your team members, or it's attracting the clients. It is what you give off that you're going to be with like-minded people. And I think that's it. And again, you look out there and there are so many amazing teams, so many amazing platforms. And I look and I think, oh my gosh, they are killing it. I love what they are doing, but it would not be in my comfort zone, or it would not resonate with myself or my clients. And I think that is true, is whether it's sports, whether it's demographics, or whatever that is, you are going to resonate with people that have something in common. So when you have young children, a lot of your clients are probably going to be people that also have young children, because they understand the mindset. It's interesting. I just was working with clients the other day. They were actually from Ontario, moving out to British Columbia, and helped them find a place. And so they had spoken to me. We were talking, it was a little further out, and just about some of the challenges they had. And they said, oh, everybody knew somebody in real estate, and we had actually worked with 2 other realtors before we met you. And I said, oh, okay. And, what were some of the challenges you had? And they said one of the realtors was just all about the sale, and just basically every property that they showed this family, they were kind of saying, oh, this is the one, buy it. And they kind of felt pressured and said, no, it's not really a good fit. The next person they met, they said, was so on the ball. They were young, they were dynamic and hardworking, but they said did not understand the needs of a family with 3 young children. And so they were saying to me, they said they didn't get it. We met you, you're professional, you knew the numbers, you knew whatever. You understood what was important to us with a family. And I think, so that's where, again, when you're looking at a team and building it, you're first of all going to get people that are like-minded, but it's also, that's where when you are looking at growing the team, keep in mind as you grow, what would be a good hire? Is it somebody in a demographic that maybe you might want to break into? Is it somebody who, if you're in an area with a lot of condos, is that something that you want somebody with experience? So kind of, I think the thing is, have a game plan for what that looks like, and then either start looking at filling those gaps, or as you run into people or they approach you, know that might be an area that they can fill. So,
the power, and now some great insights shared there. The power in that message right there, though, really comes back to the be all and end all of what this business is about. It is not a transactional business. It is a relationship business. And this is about being who you are.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think I posted something about that this morning, be you and you will inspire others.
Yeah.
And when you do that and you're actually who you are, instead of trying to be somebody you are not, people will be attracted to that and go, we gotta have something in common. And when you got those commonalities are what bring people together. And that's what creates longevity. That's what creates relationship. And well, from that comes opportunity, right? And obviously the opportunity you've seen from this is to actually grow the team.
Yeah. So
making that transition then from Ontario to BC, and more along the lines of how did you make it, right? But how did you, and where's where I'm going here? How did you essentially start your BC business? What did you do? How did you market yourself? Because again, it's one thing to go, look, I'm a realtor. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's a whole other thing to travel across the country and start it in a new home, right? That's a different thing.
Yeah. You know what? There are definitely going to be trial and errors. I think there are a few things to consider for anybody looking at making a move into a new area is, first of all, what's your why? Why are you moving? If somebody's moving to be closer to family, children, grandchildren, etc., then maybe their business plan might be a little different in that they'll say, okay, if I want some time with family, etc., maybe I will look at joining a team or partnering. If your reason for moving across is to expand the business, look at those farming areas, look at areas that you're already doing business or you want to get into and find out as much information as you can on that. I will say logistics. Definitely logistics is a key one. And with each jurisdiction and each board, you're going to have different requirements. So make sure that you have all the courses needed. If there isn't anything, get it done up front. Make sure you have your license in place for that area if it's different, because I will tell you, things take longer than expected. You might think you have all your ducks in a row and, oh, I've submitted this, and all of a sudden going, oh yeah, it's going to take another 6 weeks for processing. And you're sort of like, wow. So again, look into the logistics behind the scene. The number one thing that I will say is, and what I've learned is the importance of your contacts and referrals. So it doesn't matter how successful you are in your current marketplace, nobody knows you in your new one. So it's really important to leverage your connections, whether that's with your clients, whether it's with other realtors, because they already know you. They know what you're capable of. They've used you before, and that will be the cornerstone of your business. Referrals are the cornerstone of any business, but especially when you're moving to a new area, because they already know you. So until you build your reputation there, they are going to be key. And then I guess the fourth thing that I would say for anybody looking to move into another area is, and again, we keep going back to this, be true to yourself. Do what you do. If you are involved in sports in one area, get involved in that. If you are involved in your business community, join the local chamber of commerce. If you volunteered a lot, join Rotary. Like whatever it was you were doing, continue to do that, but in your new area. So those are kind of, I guess, the tips that I would give for anybody looking to moving to a different area or expand into a different area.
You know, it's you had me smiling, or you've got me smiling from ear to ear right now, because you keep using that word referral and network and authenticity. And it's I was going to ask you, like, do you see most of your business from people you know? And this is going to be a double prong or maybe triple prong question here, but do you see most of your business? Do you see most of your business from people you know or people you don't know?
Definitely from people I know, and especially coming to a new community right now. I will probably say 90% of my business right now is referrals. It is a lot of, so when I thought part of the business coming out here and part of the mindset, you like that word, is the fact that we have a lot of referral business and corporate transfer back and forth between the GTA and the Greater Vancouver area, more and more so. So when I look at it, it is amazing how many people kind of say, oh, you know, I've got this person moving out, whether it's realtors or friends or family. So that is huge. And at first I sort of, it took me back because I thought, oh my gosh, like, you know, back in Aurora, you didn't even really have to market. You didn't have to prospect. People knew you. You were involved in the community. They saw what you were doing and they would come to you. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, this is like a bit of a shock. And it set me back. And I was like, okay, I have to realize nobody knows me here. But
that's what I was going to ask you. Like, did you know people that you didn't have a network? I mean, outside of the agents that you know, I guess you didn't really have a network out there.
Well, I did. I mean, I knew people here, but not under the same umbrella as I did back in Ontario. So in Ontario, I had grown up there. I lived there. My business was there. Everybody knew me through that. They see your signs. They see your face. You're involved in the community. People know you. So as much as I knew people in the Vancouver area, it was under a different pretense. I didn't have signs up. I wasn't working here. I was here because it was friends and family and things. So I had to, and again, continually, we're always trying to improve, grow our visibility, grow our business. But it's definitely, to anybody looking at doing that, you have to realize that, as I say with anything, it's that arrow. You've got to pull back before you move forward. So for me, it was all of a sudden stepping back going, oh, okay, realistically, I need to build my brand. I've got to do all those back end things to grow the business like I did there, but really being appreciative of and leveraging the connections and the referrals coming in from across the country. Like now, like literally yesterday, I got 2 referrals from Ontario and they're like, hey, we've got somebody. But again, so when you look at your business in different areas, most of your business, when you've been in a certain area for years, it is going to be organic. It's going to be people that you know, and then your further friends, their family, you know, they see the sign on the lawn and their neighbors going, oh, you did a great job, and do it that way. Whereas here, You literally have to start from ground up. But again, you might be starting out in a new area, but you're not starting from scratch. You are bringing with you a wealth of knowledge, professionalism. And again, that is something for anybody starting out where you kind of have that setback and go, wow, okay, this is, a little different. And again, depending on where you are in your career and age, growing up in Aurora and having the business there, I have 3 children. You're in the school, they're in ballet, they're in soccer, they're in dance. You meet so many people and you've got those connections. You move to a new area, you're starting from scratch. You don't have young children in those. You don't have that same network.
It's like you're a fish out of water. Like literally, you're going like, I know what I'm doing. I'm successful. Whoop, let's move over here. Wow. Right. And again, I love the parallel of this relationship thing, the network, the referrals. Is everybody listening to her here? This is important.
But that's where, again, realizing all of a sudden that, okay, I don't have that opportunity for the same networking, but what do I love to do? I love to volunteer. I love to be involved in my community. I do have the seniors designate, like all those things that are a part of who I am. That starting here, like on the weekend, it was funny. So I'm involved in Rotary, which is, an international organization, but also has roots across, communities across the world, actually. So getting involved in the Rotary here. And after having everything shut down for 18 months, everybody is very excited about getting out there. So we did one of our first kind of in-person fundraisers. It was called Pancakes and Pumpkins. So you're out in the community.
I saw that on social the other day.
Yeah, I looked like a pumpkin.
I saw it. I was smiling. I was like, yeah.
But it was amazing, the feeling and the happiness being part of the community, being back out there again. And I'm out, you're out there volunteering and people are like, hey, I know you. You're at the gym and you're here. And all of a sudden I was like, it was that feeling of, okay, I finally feel like I'm getting roots here. So you love it. So again, to anybody looking at making a move, expanding, be kind on yourself, realize it's not going to happen overnight, but just do what you did and be confident that, you're going to get there again. It's not going to happen overnight. And again, for somebody like me, it was a huge mindset where I had to go, okay, I've got to take a breather. It's not going to happen overnight, but I'm in for the long haul. This is where I want to be. I want to be able to offer the same type of professionalism and service, and it's going to happen. And again, being very grateful for the network, the referrals, the team in Ontario, and all the relationships that I built. So, it's this word relationship keeps coming back up, and it's an important one. And this is what we keep telling people in this industry, whether you've been in the industry a long time and you already know this stuff, you've been in the industry a short time, you need to know this stuff. And if you're in that middle of the road where you're going, what else do I do? Go build more relationships. Now, as we talk about that, and we talk about marketing, which we like to talk about building mind share. You've got, would you consider yourself more of like an old school marketer, a new school marketer, a mix of both? What are you doing to build mindshare? So we just talked about Rotary. We talked about getting involved in the community, networking with the people you know. What are some of those marketing tactics that you really like to use? Okay, I guess a bit of both. I'm probably more old school in that a lot of the traditional marketing pieces. So again, the number one thing is building your brand. I always say to everybody, I said, think of Where's Waldo? And especially as a realtor, you usually have hundreds of realtors in each office, let alone in each marketplace. So what sets you apart from that? Is it your designation? Is it, glasses? Is it a hair color? Is it a demographic? Like, what is that? What is it that people think about when they think of you? And
you're using my mind share line. No, I like it. You go.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I should listen a little.
No, but what do people think when they think of real estate? What do they think of?
Right. And that's exactly, what do they think about when they think of real estate? And what do they think about when they think of you? So if somebody was to say, I've got a friend in real estate or somebody that I can refer you to, what are some of the characteristics or what are some of the things that they will say about you? And those are the things that you build upon. And then again, whether it's, for me, I come from a corporate background. I'm a little more seasoned in it. I'm not somebody who's young who can really run with.
You're not allowed to call yourself old
use
yet.
Social media, TikTok and stuff. It's great, but it doesn't come naturally to me. So I feel like you need to add some of that into your marketing. But for me, it will be the traditional. It will be building a brand that represents who you are. For me, I come from a corporate background. I want to clean, simple, professional. And take that right to in everything you do, from your business cards to your signs, to your mailers, to your postcards. Find out again, where are your clients? What do you resonate with? Who are you? For me, I have a luxury designation and deal with that. So for me, I'm going to focus on neighborhoods that have the same demographic of most of my clients. My marketing pieces are going to resonate with that as well. In terms of some of the events I do, people are always doing sort of client events. What are some of those things that are going to resonate with your clients? And yeah, I guess all those, but again, realizing that the marketing landscape completely changes on a dime. You look at TikTok, you look at all these kind of things and where are the demographics too. And so you look at it, the younger demographic is going to be on those TikTok, the video, the social media sites. And if a lot of your focus and a lot of your business is that generation, that is where you need to focus your attention and your dollars. If you're working with a more seasoned clientele, then what are the mediums that are going to get in front of them? Is it going to be print medium? Is it going to be, flyers? Is it going to be doorknob? Whatever that is, you have to know who your clients are and then make sure that your marketing and your advertising attracts them and reaches them.
Well, this is summed up as, delivering the right message across the right channel to the right
Correct.
audience if you actually want it to resonate with people.
Exactly.
Right. And there's the fine balance right there. That sort of mix of the old, mix of the new.
Yeah.
You can't really go to like 100% to one or the other because you're going to miss something somewhere. Right. So it's trying to integrate into that. But again, the be all and end all point is understanding how to deliver the right message across the right channel to the right audience. Now, as we come back to this event that you did the other day, and I remember seeing that on Instagram, Facebook, probably both. You did that event. And I remember a number of years ago walking through the Aurora Street Festival, and there you were with your team and your tent. And I actually remember that day, the tents were flying all over the place at one point. If you remember, it was really windy outside. But I remember that. And you talked about the involvement in the community, right? And so I guess as I ask, like, why do you do it? It's exactly that. It's to build up the brand, build up the culture of the brand in the community and connect with more people.
True, but I think it's more than that.
That's where I was going to go. What's the MO? Thank you. Yes.
I'm not doing any of those things or the intention, the thought. There was no thought process in doing those things for the business. You're doing them because you enjoy doing them. For me, I love being involved in the community, whether it's helping out at the school, whether it's being part of the local chamber of commerce, whether it's helping out at the hospital, whatever that is, you have to do it passionately. I always say, if anybody knows me, there are two things. When it comes to business, I am very professional. When it comes to volunteer, I am very passionate. And whatever you are doing, and again, we bring up this name, this word has come up so many times, but be authentic.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you are doing, it's going to come through. First of all, there are only so many hours in the day. And if you aren't doing what truly resonates with you, what you are truly passionate about, you're wasting your time. But it's going to come through. The things that I do because I am so passionate about them. Royal LePage is, as you know, I love Royal LePage. It is a family to me. I love that it's Canadian. But also what truly resonates with me is they walk the talk. The saying is, first of all, with the Shelter Foundation, right? So that is something that is near and dear to my heart. We as realtors help people find the perfect home where we hope that they have the most incredible memories that is not the situation for everybody. Unfortunately, home isn't necessarily a happy place. And so they stand behind that and realize it. And they have raised, the Royal LePage Shelter Foundation has raised $35 million to date, helping local shelters across the country educate youth on what healthy relationships are. So part of that is I donate part of every deal I do. Part of the money goes directly to the Shelter Foundation. And I was also part of a crew of a number of realtors within the company who trekked across the Sahara Desert, raising awareness and funds for the Shelter Foundation and helping women and children escape the domestic violence. And unless you are truly passionate about a cause, you are not going to be there. Right. So, and again, tying into the helping you is what we do. That is exactly, we are involved in our community. We understand that, yes, this is business, but we are doing it because we love it. So for me to be able to wake up every day and do something I love, help people, it is a huge responsibility, but it is also the greatest honor. Like I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Like I am so grateful every day to have the opportunity to do this.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more. I was on stage yesterday, keynoting an event. And so that was Tuesday. On Monday evening, as I was getting prepared and I was sitting back and I was, settling down for the evening, it kind of hit me. I was at a restaurant sitting down, having a quick pint, having dinner and looking around and going, oh my God, this is weird. We haven't done this in so long. Yeah. And then it kind of came back because it's been, we've done a few in-person events as of late, which has been absolutely phenomenal to get back with people, but I sat there and this was like sort of the first overnighter that I've done in a while. Yeah. And I sat there looking around and it sort of, you internalize, you go, yeah, this is why I'm doing it. And it's not about sitting at the bars why I'm doing it. It's the excitement of being able to get there tomorrow to go and wake up and be able to help as many people as possible. And having that opportunity, like, wouldn't change it for the world, and it's a very cool feeling when you can be content with that, with what you do, how you do, who you are. Yeah. And look, as we look at marketing, right, and the fact that we get to help people, and, we've talked about the power of relationships. We've talked about, getting out there and getting involved in the community and looking at, the events that you just recently did and being there, at those events in a genuine, authentic capacity to be able to help people. Again, it comes back to this is what that business is all about. So I'm curious then, because from a marketing perspective, as we look at it, and you brought this up a minute ago here, is, referrals. Yeah. That's what this business has always been about. Yeah. However, with the increase of all the tech over the past number of 5-10 years, it's really become about online lead generation.
Correct.
I don't think that's the right direction. I think it's a misconception. I'm saying it loud and proud, and I'll stand on stage and I do, and I tell everybody. There's this false pretense about what it is, but and look, for everybody that's tuned in right now, please understand, as a marketer and a strategist, I understand the game of online leads. I understand the funnel process. I understand every nook and cranny of the entire thing. And I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I am saying that it costs a lot of money, costs a lot of time, costs a lot of effort, and there are a lot of easier, more lucrative, quicker ways to be able to get business. Yeah. And that comes back to the things you were just sharing about getting involved with people and building the relationships. Because to me, that's fun stuff. Finding commonalities of things we can do together. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the online lead gen thing?
I don't agree with them either. I mean, to me, it's a relationship business. Like at the end of the day, real estate is relationship. So unless you are getting out in front of people, letting them know who you are, letting them know what you're capable of, to me, it's a numbers game. Like online lead generation exactly is, for some people, it's going to work. For me, I didn't even know what some of these things were before I did it. Like pop buys. People say, oh, you do pop buys? I'm like, oh, is that what it's called? I mean, I had clients, with little children going to school. I put together little care packages for them. You do Easter. Like I am that kind of kooky person, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is huge to me. I would always do a Thanksgiving drive to my clients. And so people were like, oh, you're doing that pop by. Again, I didn't know what it was, but it's getting in front of the people and doing things that we think they would appreciate. Having client events, that's something that I was always very passionate about. I usually try to tie it in with a local business, whether it is a home decor store where it resonates with our clients. We've got some synergy going on between real estate. How do they do something like that? Have it catered by a client who might have food. So again, you're getting in front of people, you're supporting local businesses, you're adding value to clients and people within the community, but you're doing it
in a real physical way.
The same amount of money. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
The same amount of money is probably going towards these events as online lead generation. But I feel, again, I like the connection. I'm a people person.
Yep.
I'm a hugger. I love the relationships. So for me, I will always support anything in person over an informal lead generation. But that's just the way I am. Again, everybody's got different things you're right, with social media and tech taking over a business. Like people now, it is excruciatingly important to have good visibility on those sites, whether it's your website, whether it's your social media, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So that comes into play. But I think for me, at least with my business, it's being used in conjunction with what I'm already doing rather than relying just on that. But again, who knows, for a younger generation that is very tech savvy, and that might be the majority of their business, their marketing, their strategy will be online, whether that's lead gen or social media.
You know, hold on. I'm gonna battle that for a second. And here's what I'm gonna say, because I think that, yes, I agree with the fact that if you are that younger demographic, you are on the socials more often. You are more used to doing the video thing. I'm with that 100%. Yeah. And look, being ultimate salespeople, as we have been for many, many years, this thing of lead generation has always been part of the game. You've got to generate leads.
Right.
I love what you just shared, though, around you can take the exact same amount of money that you might put into the online thing, and you can actually put it into offline stuff by getting involved in the community and being there. But now you're actually meeting people. Now you're generating authentic lead opportunities rather than online lead generation. And what I wanted to battle there was this and say that, you know, the younger demographic may still be all over the socials and understand it all, regardless of when you see an ad is an ad, whether it comes through digitally or it comes through on the street corner, it's an ad. And I think that whether you're in the younger demographic, the older demographic, you're still looking at it as an ad. And in fact, one thing we also know is that 76% of millennials see paper as a bright, shiny object. They actually like it because they don't get it often because they're not used to it. So I guess the battle in that wasn't so much to like battle you, but more to say in the thinking of people to go, look, do you believe that just because the younger generation, they're going to tap into online ads? Well, they're still going to go back to people they know. They're still going to talk to their friends because that's what this business, that's what life is about. Right. And they also know even better than we do about what a scam looks like and what a bot looks like and what, right? Like they get it. They see it right away. Yeah, please. Like I said it to somebody earlier. I'm like, yeah, look at this. They're like, it's a bot. I'm like, no. Look, it looks pretty legit. They're like, no, it's a bot because of A, B, C, and D. You're like, oh, right. So they can read this. And I still think that it comes back to, if you can break into that demographic right there and do it in a genuine way, whether it be from, connecting with the parents, the existing relationship you had, to building the relationship by somehow leveraging some of the new school tactics, but it's still not about the ads. It's still about the organic, even if you're going to leverage TikTok, Insta, Facebook, whatever.
It's all part of it. And that's where, when you do look at your business plan and your marketing strategy, you look at all those different elements and say what works. Because as we all know, we're all sitting in, especially with COVID and the pandemic and everybody being isolated, everybody's on their computers and phones a lot more. It starts the process. That's it. It doesn't finish it. At the end of the day, you might get in front of somebody that way, but it is going to be that personal connection, the referral, the meeting somebody that is going to, whether it's called seal the deal or make that connection. To me, so again, yes, you can look at the online as a starting point, but I don't think it will ever take away from the personal. They always talk about the bricks and mortar, right? Like any of that. Yes, you can get part of that there, but it's still not going to take away from that personal connection in the relationship.
I want to switch gears here for a sec, because again, being seriously uber professional as you are in this biz, I want to just role play for one quick second.
Okay.
And again, keep your trade secrets to you. Obviously, we are on a live show here, and we're going to share this across all the major podcast platforms. So, but the question becomes this: we're sitting down, and you are about to help me list my property, and I say to you, "So, how much do you charge?" How do we play that game? And really, where I'm trying to get to here is the be all and end all of what I'm asking you here is somebody wants you to cut your commission.
Yeah.
How do you handle that objection?
Okay. And I mean, I'm happy to share anything. I mean, whether this is an industry, I mean, whether somebody wants marketing plans, whatever, I'm always here to honestly help however I can. So
You're amazing.
Nothing's off the table.
You're amazing.
I mean, you always get people that are going to ask if you cut your commission or what are your commission fees, et cetera. And you go through, I explain it to them. I say to them, you do get what you pay for. I go through the list of everything we offer for that commission. There are going to be sometimes I'll be the first to say, if I've had a client that I've worked with before and they've done business, they don't even have to ask me for a reduction in commission. I do it. I am so grateful for that business and then coming back to me. And it's not like I'm doing it for free, but
there's the relationship game. That's why
relationship. So I will do that. If it's just somebody coming out saying, "Oh, I'm interviewing you and 5 other people, and it's going to come down to
let's go there." Exactly.
The lowest price. They're not a client I'm probably going to want to work with anyway. So at the end of the day, I will say, this is what I offer. This is what you can expect from me. But also, if it's just about the numbers, then go with somebody less. But keep in mind that it's not about the net, or about the whole thing. You're looking at the whole package. What are you going to end up with at the end of the day in your pocket? So you could be paying less commission, but if they're not going to be spending the extra dollars on the marketing, on the advertising, getting the people through, at the end of the day, it's the number of people interested in a property that is going to usually increase the sale price. So if they aren't spending the money at the back end to promote that property, they're most likely not going to get the higher sale price. So it's all relevant. And again, you get what you pay for.
Okay. So to everybody tuned in that is looking to be a professional, understand that on a regular basis, as we talk to professionals, every professional we talk to, and Caroline, you are part of that definition of professional. And I'm speaking to sort of the audience right now, especially to the folks that are newer in the business that are going, but I got to get the deal and I can't afford to lose the deal. Understand, if you want to be a pro, all of the pros say the same thing and essentially comes back to, then that is not the client you want to be dealing with, period. Love that answer. Now, let me ask you this one. Buyers and sellers right now, market is ridiculous. We're seeing reports like crazy that Canada's, and I know the industry hates this word, but Canada's got like one of the craziest housing bubbles there are across the entire planet. Look, it goes without saying, Vancouver, Toronto, prices are stupid. It is next to impossible to get into your dream home anymore. What are we telling, our buyers? What are we telling our sellers right now? Because there's also something to be said about, hey, this is our business. We still got to do business. Yeah. And it's up to us to try to how do we market our business? How do we advise clients right now? What would you say to somebody who's like, you know what? Yeah, I'd sell my house. I'd love to take advantage of the market right now. Where do I go? What are you telling people just as a general right now?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a tough market for buyers right now. Mm-hmm. We have limited inventory. There's been pent up demand. The prices are, at all-time highs. We also have low interest rates. We have younger consumers getting into the marketplace. We have the consumers moving up. COVID really emphasized the importance of a home. So there is a lot of demand out there. At the end of the day, it's not going back. The prices are not going to go any lower. We might not see those same huge increases, but we're not going backwards. So if you're not getting in now, you're going to constantly be chasing the market. And I think that is a thing to keep in mind. So there's a saying too, and again, you'll notice I'm a quote junkie, whatever it is.
Love it.
The greatest investment on earth is earth. Like at the end of the day, you have something tangible. So something that you might have looked at it. I just met with somebody yesterday and they said, oh, well, I don't know, the prices are high. Can you give me an analysis from the last 5 years? And I said, oh, absolutely. But please keep in mind that 5 years ago, those numbers are completely irrelevant to where we are now.
Yeah.
We can look at year over year. We can look at month over month and what you do. And this is where, again, knowledge comes into place. And this is where it's a professional. Know what the marketplace is. So for the buyers out there, it is tough because there's a lot of competition and prices are high. But if you know what the area, the neighborhood numbers are, you can go in and advise them professionally and say, okay, yes, this is higher than it was, last year, but based on the last 3-6 months, this is fair market value for the area. We do not see it going down. So I think that's where it comes into play as well, is knowing your marketplace, educating them, also letting them know some of the things they can do to, be one step ahead of it. They might be in a situation, and most likely where they're going to be in a bidding war. And so what are some of the things that they can do to help make their offer more appealing? They can be pre-approved ahead of time. We can do a pre-offer home inspection. We can find out ahead of time what the preferred closing dates are for the seller. Like, there are definitely things that we can do working with our buyers to say, yes, we understand it's a challenging market, but homes are still selling. Mm-hmm. And if you are in a situation where you do feel that it is the time to sell your home and go out and buy, we start putting things in place to make sure that they are in a solid position for when they do go to buy. And again, I'm in that situation. I just purchased a place too. And I know I sit there giving my head a shake going, oh my gosh, I should have done it a year ago. I saw all these things. But at the end of the day, you're never in a bad situation if you know what fair market value is for the area you are buying into. So,
okay, interesting. Just we're seeing a lot of reports about it right now, and they're just talking about the bubble. We've been talking about a bubble for years, right? Yeah. And next thing it just keeps going up. Yeah. And when we look at the next 3 to 6 months, I find it difficult to believe that things are going to change drastically because there's no fix in place right now. There's nothing out there that's just going to fix the whole solution. All the craziness of what's going on in the world is not just going to go away just like that. And so again, we are in a position where, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see a bust from anything. In fact, and we know that over decade over the past 100 years, real estate is up. Plus, to what you said about the physical and the tangible.
Yeah.
It's not stocks. It's not crypto. You still have someone to hold on to. That's an asset that in the event of, hey, it's still there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Big difference. So tell me this, looking at this. So, team in Ontario, business in BC, involved in all these philanthropic endeavors, in the community, marketing, family, personal, business, life. How do you stay organized with all of this stuff you got going on in a day? Are you a very time management, time oriented person?
I don't know. I think like many people in my situation, they always say, you want something done, give it to a busy person.
You were saying.
Yeah. I do feel you're either that person or you're not. I look at my children and I always say that hopefully the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, or sadly, maybe sometimes it doesn't, but they can be in school. You can be in school. You can be have all these things going on. I think you just make it happen. At the end of the day, I've always been that person who has had a lot of balls in the air, and it's not like all the balls are in the air at the same time, but you set aside time for each of them. You know what needs to be done work-wise. You know what needs to be done, for your volunteer. And at the end of the day, all the trainers, everybody talks about the coaches having your calendar in place. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really important that you schedule in those things. And if it's important to you, you'll make a time. And I think that's where the volunteer comes in too, because people always say, oh my gosh, you're so busy with work. How do you fit that in? I couldn't imagine life without it. It is, as we talked about, in my DNA. It is, I would not feel that I'm complete without having that part of my daily, my weekly routine. And it is the fabric of it. So you make things fit.
I love it. Volunteering is a very special and very powerful thing that you can do. And once you really do it, because I'm with you. I mean, between not just coaching professionals, but coaching, baseball players, coaching hockey players, we don't get paid for that stuff. That's volunteer position. But there's a sense of accomplishment that comes out of it, not just from, watching the team win, but watching little people grow, and not just grow in the sport, but grow as people. And somehow, trying to impact that in a very positive way. Words almost can't describe it, right? But that to me is a part of what the fulfillment in a day is. So to that same comment, I guess from me, the question back to you would be, how do you know it's been a successful day for you?
That's easy. If I've helped somebody, I mean, whether that's a buyer finding the perfect home or a colleague help build their business, at the end of the day, I think if I can go to sleep knowing that I helped somebody, it's been a good day. It puts a smile on my face.
We are batting 1,000 with this question because there is not a successful person we have spoken to yet on this show over the past, how many shows? 152, I think, is today, that has used the word money when I ask about success.
Yeah.
How do you know it's been successful? Most of the successful people will always say, I helped somebody else.
Yeah.
So again, to everybody tuned in, make sure you really, really let that one sink in. Caroline, some last words from you, some last words, tips, anything that you can share with everybody who's tuned in so they can help themselves get out there, of course, build more mind share, grow their mindset, and really just grow their business.
Okay, 3 things. One,
I like it.
Yeah, be authentic. Be authentic in absolutely everything you do, your business, your personal, that is one. Never stop learning. So that is one thing. I will be first to admit I'm a geek. I love to read. I love to take courses. So no matter where you are in your career or your life or your sport, always learn. And the third and probably most important thing is I always say, the road of life is a long one. There are going to be bumps in the road and detours and forks and stops and detours. Don't change your plan. You're going to get there, but realize that, it might, have a few little curves. So enjoy the road trip. Don't beat yourself up, but just literally enjoy the road trip of life. That's it.
Powerful. I like those 3 things. Reading. Feed your brain. It is so important. And the road trip, the journey of life, you can't change yesterday. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Hell, we don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes from now.
It's like this. And, honestly, you sit there and you just have to go, you know what? It's a long one. So just sit back and roll with it. That's it. Enjoy the road trip.
Caroline, thank you. This has been a very enjoyable conversation, and I can't thank you enough for making the time for the Mindshare podcast. And everybody who's tuned in today, you shared some incredible insights. And I know that I sat here taking a ton of notes. As you can see, my head kind of turned like this, and I'm hoping everybody else has. And if you haven't, I encourage everybody, turn this thing back on and listen to it again and start taking notes because, some wicked stuff shared. So again, thank you for that today.
Thank you for having me.
You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. And if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how I will help you do just that. Also, don't forget that our Push to 100 is on, and you can have the chance to win a group coaching membership for 1 year valued at over $500. So be sure to please go to iTunes, subscribe to the show, rate us, and leave a review. And if you haven't yet, connect me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at DavidGreenspan101. I want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my site, mindshare101.com, and click on marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.